Hello everybody, this is Mizuna and welcome back to another video. This is my Void World base on my Minecraft server. You're going to be seeing a lot of it because I'm going to start up a series starting with a base tour here soon. And below me is the focus of our video today. I'm doing a showcase of a maximum efficiency big reactors turbine build. So, it is one massive 19 by 19 by 19 reactor running 24, and you could run 25 maximum size turbines. I've been looking around the web and a lot of people are talking about this, but nobody's made a decent video on how to build them. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. Behind me you can see a Draconic Energy Cluster. Now that is something from the mod Draconic Evolution, and I'm on the FTB Infinity Pack, by the way, and it stores 2.14 trillion RF. That's trillion with a T. Now, this big reactor setup can fill that up in 2 days. It's quite amazing. So, let's dive in, and I will show you the build. It's right underneath us, and there it is. Now, you can see that this reactor is massive. It's a 19 by 19 by 19, and you can see there are tons of control rods. I will be posting a full material list for this reactor in the description below, so definitely check that out. And each one of these, all of these are set to 97% insertion right now. It varies between 96 and 97%. Based on redstone control here, based on casing heat. So while the reactor is below 300 degrees Celsius, it outputs a redstone signal and turns it to 96% insertion. While it's off, so the reactor is above 300 degrees Celsius, it's at 97%. That's just because I have 24 turbines instead of 25, so I don't use up all the steam from this thing at 96%. Otherwise, you could probably just leave it at 96% insertion. So it's off right now, which means it's not generating steam. Let's turn it on. You can see I've got my RF Tools redstone receiver here, so let's go to my little control room over here and turn the reactor on. Now let's go back down, and you should see getting some pretty significant frame lag here. There we go. We can see the numbers rise. Now, it outputs steam. It can output almost exactly 50 buckets of steam per tick. And if you don't know, that is the maximum, 50 buckets is the maximum amount that any reactor can output. There's nothing higher. That's because that's as much as its buffer can take. That outputs through a tesseract that I have set to the steam channel, and to send steam to all of my turbines. You can see them spinning up right now. I have them sending back through the water intake into the reactor so that it's always filled with water. And down below you can see the source of that water is a bunch of thermal expansion. You can hear them actually. Thermal expansion aqueous accumulators. Now there are plenty of better ways to do that. That's just the way I decided to do it. You can see my AE2 molecular assemble cluster. I'll probably make a video about that too. Now, let's take a look at the turbines themselves. These guys have 32 blocks of lutecrite, and I can show you the lutecrite recipe here. The one I'm using is the one with Enderium. So 2 Enderium blocks, 2 blaze rods, and 4 plutonium ingots for 1 lutecrite block. That's 32 times 24 turbines. So this is a very, very expensive build. Definitely end game. Each of them has 80 blades, and that's the maximum you can have inside a turbine in the current version of big reactors. They have the rotor up front, and all of the controls are shared between them so that I can share tesseracts. So there are 3 tesseracts per 2 turbines. One to input steam into the turbines, one to collect water, that's the one down here, and send it back to the big reactor, and one to output power. Now, when you're using these guys, The big reactor power ports have a maximum output of 10,000 RF per tick. However, the turbine power ports, seem to have a maximum output of 1 million RF per tick. I found that in practice, depending on server latency, I cannot get enough power out of these things with just one of these at times. So I have 4 of them with cryostabilized flux duct from Thermal Dynamics into a Tesseract, just so that I can definitely get all the energy out. Let's take a look inside the controller of one of these turbines. Here he is. You can see that they are always full of water, always full of steam, half full, and when they're fully spun up, they spin up to about 1782 RPM. They make around 28,000 RF per tick each. So there are 24 of them at 28,000 RF per tick. That's around, I've done the math before, it's around 600,000 RF per tick, which is an astounding amount. Remember, a tick is a 20th of a second. So this will make more energy than you could ever use. And I will be posting a full material list in the description below for how much you'll need to build one of these. But let's just look at the design a little bit of the reactor itself, because that's the biggest part. You can do maximum build turbines any way you like. You can use Enderium or Ludicrite, and it's always 80 blades, and it takes 2 buckets a tick of steam. So on the outside, the entire outer ring of this reactor, the interior is a 17 by 17 because the reactor itself is a 19 by 19. Being down here gives me serious frame rate issues. I have no idea why. I think it's probably the turbines. So the entire outer ring is resonant ender. If you don't know, in big reactors, resonant ender is excellent at blocking the radiation from the fuel rods. It blocks it and converts it into energy very, very effectively. Now, the inside is all gelid cryothium. It turns out that the most efficient way to build a big reactor is to have cryothium in between your fuel rods and enderium between the fuel rods and the casing. At 96% insertion, this thing supplies 50 buckets per tick of steam, which is enough to run all 25, really, of your turbines if you're really going to do it maximum efficiency. If you're wondering why I only have 24, it's because I couldn't stand having one throwing off my symmetry. I think this build looks really good, and I'm trying for an aesthetic thing here on the island. So, as far as the design of the layout of the fuel rods itself, this is very, very complicated. Explaining all of this in a short showcase video wouldn't be very likely. If you'd like me to post a tutorial on how to build this step by step, I would love to do that. The outside is filled with resonant ender with a floodgate from BC Factory. Many of you have seen that trick, but all of the gelid cryothium is laid in by hand, bucket by bucket, because it really isn't faster to do it with a floodgate. It took me a really long time to build this. I was probably on the server off and on for 2 days building this reactor, and then I used an RF Tools builder to build all the turbines. I have it controlled with redstone like I showed, and RF Tools is really handy for this, just because they have a wireless redstone system that works really, really well, and you can control them with their modular screens. If you're playing FTB Infinity, that's the mod pack I use, then you do have both big reactors and RF Tools. That's what these screens are from, that's what the teleporters are from as well. So, I think that just about covers it. I hope you have enjoyed this short spotlight on a maximum efficiency big reactors layout. If you want to see more like it, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for fresh content every single day. This has been Mizuna signing off. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.